Hi, Kate.
Hi, Marty. How are you doing?
What's happening?
Oh, I'm eating lunch. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm concerned I'm going to be like the most like chaotic energy today.
You know what? That's cool. Listener, you know what? This is Romance Writers Therapy, and we are recording at a different time than we normally do. So the energy, we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah. Because we've realized that like, man, those evening recordings are just like not being exceptional for our energy level. So we're trying something different, and fingers crossed, man.
Yeah, so instead of eating dinner, I'm eating lunch. Different mouth noises.
Same mouth noises, different time.
No, lunch is much more slurpy, I think.
Ooh.
You're gonna get them good mac and cheese noises.
Oh, mac and cheese. Them good mac and cheese noises. Way to make it
Yeah.
lead. So you're eating lunch and it's mac and cheese. Is there anything else you want to catch up listener on?
I'm also supposed to be working at my actual job.
Oh, your job?
My job.
Oh, your job.
That thing. How about you? What you're gonna dash off at exactly 1:30.
I do have to, yeah.
So the call may end just abruptly, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
Where did Marty go? Why is it just Kate talking?
Listener, find your own advice. Bye.
Listener, think for yourself. Listener, we can't do everything for you.
We can't do everything for you. I gotta go. Yeah, I have a showing that I unexpectedly had to schedule. And it's like a situation where real estate is fantastic, but you do have to keep your schedule pretty flexible, which works great for me. But I feel bad about how it affects other people, so I'm sorry about how it affects you, Kate.
No. I like this. I think this may be a better alternative for us.
I think so too. I'm just continuing to plug away at my release for Hazel and Elijah, and I've gotten some really good input from reviewers, and there's one in particular that I'm like, oh gosh, should I change what I'm doing here, sort of thing. But the more other reviews come in, I'm like, well, everyone else seems to not be struggling with the same stuff she is, right?
Okay.
And she is an incredibly thoughtful reader. But
you do have to kind of play the numbers at it. You gotta, okay,
yeah.
So everyone else is not having this problem.
Exactly. I think a pretty small number of people have not necessarily expressed the same feelings, but she's the only one that has expressed this. But there's a couple of lukewarm reviews that I've read that I'm like, this might be their issue with it, right?
Okay.
But the majority of reviews have been really positive, and so I'm just kind of throwing around the idea of combining the prequel and making that part 1 of their story, and then making the rest of the book part 2, so that the prequel would no longer exist.
It would all just be one long book.
It would just be one book. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see that.
And let's be real, not even long. It would just be a normal sized book at that point. So, and I think it could really appeal too, because the prequel has some really great spice to it, but the drama and the tension really carries through. Man, I'm really considering doing it. I think I might really like that change to the book. I have to decide by the 26th.
Okay. I kind of wonder if you maybe... See, don't hate me for this suggestion.
Okay.
Because you are going to hate it.
Oh God, I'm going to hate you.
You combine this prequel into the book, and then you write another prequel about when they were even younger. And they just kind of only peripherally knew about each other. And it's going to be a very short thing, maybe 2,000 words max, newsletter thingy, And it's the 5 times they almost flirted, very archive of our own fanfiction style flash fiction,
Okay, that's pretty cute.
Right?
Yeah.
That way you still have a newsletter leader, but it's short, it's sweet, and it doesn't have a conclusion. It asks them to move on to the next thing, if you want more of this, here it is. Not
because the problem becomes then I need a newsletter magnet at the end of Hazel and Elijah, because right now I'm using their prequel as a newsletter magnet, right?
Okay.
So I would need to write 2,000 words or something of something, right? I would probably go back to my old newsletter magnet, You and Me in Quarantine, which I still would want to replace with something else, but it would like give me time to do that, right?
Right.
The thoughts. Yeah. So these are the things I'm considering. That's a pretty cute, like, easy solution. I don't know. I'll think about it.
Okay. Yeah. No, you don't have to run with it now. Just like a thought. Because like, I know you were attached to the idea, because I think when you were writing the prequel and I had been like, so it's going to end on a not a happily ever after, but then you're going to like, I think I expressed maybe not quite the same. I was just kind of looking at the structure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's up to you. Okay. So today we're going to talk about social media. Or that's a terrible transition. I'm also going to cut that
out. So Kate, have you ever felt social on media? Is that a better one?
Oh my God. I've had some interesting experience with social media. I think I mentioned a little bit, and I don't talk a lot about like my previous like social media experience because like I think last episode I talked a little bit about like the books that I had published under that pen name, and then the feeling of like the shame around like the book deal like just kind of falling because of like literally just the bureaucracy and turnover that like happens in the publishing world. I kind of backed away from a platform that I already had. And I want to say like at the, not the height of Tumblr's like usage, but before it kind of took its big nosedive.
Yeah.
I want to say like maybe a year or so before like the 2018 porn ban that happened on Tumblr, which was an attempt to sweep out all the porn bots, which was like a huge problem on the website. However, it kind of included not safe for work, creators and people who were like literally just posting their art, people who were making an income off of like online sex work, that kind of thing, which, you know, I think that I can see how there would be like from a administrative standpoint, like you don't see the difference between like a porn bot, which is like I can see why like bureaucracy would have a hard time identifying the differences between like living person making like their living and like porn bot that's trying to get your credit card number.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's
and like there's a whole like a lot of things we can talk about with like but we're not going to about the puritanical nature of Apple and Google Play and that app hosting, like app store hosting that, you know, the terms and conditions that are constantly being made to exclude sex workers. And like, there's a whole bunch of like just big tangled mess over there. We're not going to touch that right now.
No,
we can touch that later.
I don't feel like I am the expert on such discussion either.
Honestly,
right?
Me neither.
So,
like, I'm sorry I've like just swerved into this tangent. I did not mean to.
But I do think it's an important conversation for someone to have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it was a thing that happened, like, kind of coincidentally with, while I kind of took a moment and backed away, and, like, then everything kind of on Tumblr went to shit, and it was like, oh, okay, so no one's, like, engaging with any media here anymore. It's, like, really hard to, like, the people who were really interacting kind of went away and found other platforms. And so it became like, all right, it's hard to stay motivated here because I'm not getting the same engagement I'm used to. Yeah. And, fair. You know, at that point, it's kind of like, there's still all these lingering feelings of like failure for no reason.
That's such a bummer.
Yeah, it is. But like, there's a lot of like lessons I feel like I've taken from it.
I think that one of the major takeaways I'm taking from it, and also, you know, the conversation happening around TikTok right now, is that, like, the importance of the newsletter.
The newsletter, diverse social, having
platforms.
having multiple platforms, having your own website, you know, cannot be taken away from you.
Well, and, like, as far as, like, diverse social websites go, like, I am still really only active on Instagram and TikTok. And, like, TikTok's very, like, can we call that active? Those are the two places that, like, seem to work for me. I'm trying a little bit on Facebook, but, like, very much in a reposting and interacting in groups sort of way, right?
Yeah.
But what has been cool is that I'm pretty much posting at least once a day on Instagram, and definitely less than that, like probably once a week on TikTok. And there is growth happening in both places.
That's good.
Right?
Glad. Consistency
even, like,
does, you know.
Yeah. My views on TikTok are terrible, right? Like, they're less than, like, 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you know, I just am fine with that, right? Like, I'm fine with this level of work. I am fine with this level of, I don't feel I could take on more, right?
Yeah. And I think that's, like, a healthy way to, like, have a relationship with social media. Because, like, I think the number one killer of, like, motivation is tying yourself to vanity metrics, you know? Like, oh, I only have 100 views. But if 100 people bought your book this week, you would be over the moon, you know?
I'd be so excited.
If 50 people who saw that TikTok.
Side note, I'm doing that promo, the rescue dog promo, and I've had over 50 sales just from that.
Exactly, literally.
So, like, that's been awesome. That has been awesome. Yeah.
So that is, like, more important than getting 10,000 views and nobody buys your book, you know?
Absolutely. Well, and, like, the hope is that, like, they read through it and they see the first chapter of Hazel and Elijah and keep on going.
Yeah.
I'll gather that first chapter
they enjoy you so much that they just go into your backlog. You know, like, this is
absolutely
the whole point.
And gosh, isn't that great when that happens? That always, like, brings me so much joy when someone's like, I love this. I'm going to read everything you have. And then, like, half a week later, they're like, I'm done. Like, yeah, I don't have a lot yet. But
God, the speed at which the art that you make is consumed is, like, a whole other topic. But I do have, like, you know, like, I finished my 73,000 word werewolf book. I'm like, this is so, like, this is
awesome.
Like, my last few projects have been under 50K, all of them. You know, I think the longest one was the Gargoyle book, which, like, kind of clocked in at, like, 46, 47, I think. You know, it could have reached 50, but I kind of was like, I'm going to scale back because I do want this to, like, be a similar, like, feel like it's not too much longer. But everything else was, like, under 30,000, 15,000 words. You know, like, these are all short stories. And not that I haven't written longer projects before. I have Handle with Claire and I have Saltwater. You know, like, these are my shelved projects that are, you know, 70, 80,000 words. But I think a lot goes into that and so much more time consuming than the short things. And so much more craft intensive, I feel like.
Well, and I
for
think
a sustained,
also with the werewolf book being something that you've written recently, with all the knowledge and experience you have, tackling that size book and tackling that size of, like, edits and stuff is so much less daunting than those older shelved pieces, because they were written and you gained the experience from them, but you didn't have the same, like, it's just so much harder to think about going back to them. Yeah. Knowing that, like, man, I'm going to read like every sentence and be like, oh no. Like,
right. And, like,
every sentence needs a revamp.
I think there's, like, this goal when you're writing something that you kind of have to switch your mind out of, like, this idea, it's gonna be perfect, I have to fix all the flaws, and I kind of have to walk myself through this. It's okay, it's not perfect, because there's no such thing as a perfect book, and every book is gonna be a bit better in its own ways, because your overall view of how, like, your bird's eye view of how to do your craft is better. Like painting, you know? Like, painting, you can watch, like, the Bob Ross videos and you'll see, like, this technique. Knowing when to layer things is its own really important knowledge. And I feel like if you don't know to do that, then you're kind of all over the place. You're adding things that it would be easier to do this layer if you had done it first and then just forgot about it. Like the background, like you put the sky in, you put a gradient in. But if you've got other things on top of that, you're kind of working around them and you're trying not to brush on top of details that you want to stick out, you know, like, so knowing what layer and when to do things and how to kind of plan out ahead of time is so big. But it's such a small thing and it's so easy to learn. But, like, you kind of don't gain that knowledge that you need to know this.
Yeah. Well, and, like, that's, like, really there's no knowing until you do it. Right? Yeah. So just, like, the comment on, like, you've had these shorter pieces, but all those shorter pieces have helped you know how to wrangle the size of this werewolf story.
Yeah. Anyway, we are so off topic. I was just going to make a comment that I gave it to a beta reader, and the beta reader finished it in a whole fucking day. I was, like, at home, like, over overjoyed that they were enjoying it so much, but also like screaming internally to myself, like, why? Read slower, damn it! Savor every word choice.
Gosh darn it.
like for no reason. Like, no, don't actually like feel that way, listener, if you read books. Like,
but like, I think that's also a really important thing to remember while we're writing too, is like, if I'm like going back and forth on this word, that word, this word, that word, like just write the word and move on, because the reader is not going to linger on your word choice the same way you are. Right?
Absolutely.
And not to say that it's not important, that you shouldn't make you happy, but it's not as important as it feels in the moment.
So, like, we were going to talk about social media.
We were, yes. And I do think we should get back to that, but
20 minutes in.
What about you? Yeah. I mean, we've talked a little bit about it. I feel like this is our normal conversation.
You know how I operate is that I'm like, I take whatever I need to do and I procrastinate that and I get a bunch of other things done. And right now, I'm supposed to, in my mind, be working on the second werewolf book. And I will. I still am in love with it. I just need to, like, get over a couple small obstacles, which are rewriting a chapter. And I hate rewriting so much. So I'm always like, no.
Well, and then also, like, this is kind of your process, too, where you kind of avoid a story as you're working through something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay.
That's just how I do.
That's just how you do.
But so I've been working on kind of, and I'm seeing like the similarities between them so much, because I did your book cover and then like a month later I did my book cover. They both have like this big sky, big background sunset kind of with really gorgeous, sunset colors, like going from like the warm oranges into the deep purples, you know? They're not the same colors exactly, but then after I finished it, I was like,
I've noticed the similarities.
I was like, oh no, I hope she's not mad that I just kind of like did the same thing I just did for her.
For one thing, I don't think that we sit in a close enough market with each other, for one thing, for these two to be compared to each other.
Absolutely.
The only reason they would is because you're the artist on both of them. And also, like, they are different covers. I'd have to look at yours again, but, like, I feel like the font's different. I feel like the way you laid out, like, the words and stuff is different. There are similarities. I did notice, but I was like, yeah, I get it. They're pretty. Like,
God,
I don't think they're close enough to be a problem.
Just been in a sunset mood, you know?
It's fair. Yeah. Sunsets are so pretty.
They are. I think yours is kind of like golden hour sunset and mine's kind of like blue hour sunset.
I agree. Yeah. Yours is definitely more in that twilight zone.
And I think like that kind of lends to the little spooky kind of paranormal a little bit more. You know, I think yours needs to be brighter and softer.
Yeah. It's so cute. It's like sitting in front of me right now, like, because I have the physical book right in front of me.
Oh God, I can't wait to see that.
Dude. Oh, it's so cute, Kate. Okay, so I think as we've been talking, I have decided to combine those two things.
Yeah? Okay.
I do think it makes a better story, and even if most readers don't catch it, I would know that it's a better story, and that's important. So...
You know, the decision-making process of, like, just sitting and letting something really marinate.
Ruminate.
Fucking...
Yeah.
Like, it was like last week, I texted our little group chat, I was like, I'm going to throw out my 30,000 word outline of Logan's story. And I'm just going to start from scratch with this. And it was like, absolutely like a high ass story, like start. Like, I do love it still. I just don't love it for Logan's story. But like at that point, I had already done a bit of planning on like, I could reuse Logan's outline, like most of it, for Aiden's story, and then do I have to throw out Aiden's story, or can I like salvage like what I was gonna do for it? And so like mentally I've like kind of already deleted all my plans for Logan's story. And now I have to get back. I need to go into like my mind trash and be like, oh no, you're coming back out.
Well, and like that's part of my problem with writing. My mind trash is a fantastic phrase. Okay, so we have t-shirts that say dessert writing and mind trash. Okay. That's kind of like my concern with pausing, like with combining these two and then having to do a reader magnet is like, I already have Remy and Alicia's book that's not finished. I have this Christmas novella that is not finished and I'm kind of stuck at. So we'll be talking about that tonight, about like how I think the next scene is. I don't know. I'm struggling.
I mean, I think
I
Christmas
feel like
is a little ways off. You could, put a pin in it. I know that's not your method.
I don't like doing that, but I've already done that to Remy and Alicia, and I could switch back over to them. And I don't want to wait until next Christmas to release this. But if I did, it would mean I'm releasing Remy and Alicia this year, right? Like, it would be one of the two. But I mean, pausing to write like 2,500 words for a different...
25 isn't a lot,
It's not. And I have gotten back into my... We are not talking about social media, Kate.
I didn't want to cut you off. 25 minutes in. Have they talked about social media?
We have a little bit.
Well,
hey, Kate, have you ever been social on media?
I have.
We have that amazing segue.
The covers thing, I wanted to say it's such a good idea to the different layers of your your cover exported as separate PNG files, which means like they're transparent in some areas, or they can be transparent, really. It's just the important thing. And then if you have a media editor like Canva, Canva is very popular right now. God, I'm going to watch online the Canva Expo show that's like in 2-3 days.
Oh, I didn't know that was happening.
Oh, it's like you can't avoid it on their website. There's this huge bar that's just like takes up the entire top fold.
Hilarious, because I was on their website yesterday.
Did not see it.
Turns out you can avoid it.
You can avoid it. It's just called like not reading.
Yes. But it can be done.
That's not going to stop me because I can't read. I said that to someone about like the recipe card or the instructions because like I straight up do not read any like small blurb of text anymore.
That's hilarious.
Like you hand me any like thing to do, I will just start doing thing and I will do it until I hit a wall and then it'll be like, okay, where's the instruction? Whereas Austin's over there like having a conniption that I didn't like read the instructions. Literally, he's an instructions guy, and that's why I have him. Yeah. Sorry, I'm all over the place. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Canva and the different pieces of the cover. So, like, what she is saying is, like, you should have just the file of...
the two characters on the front.
Exactly.
That get the title.
Yes. So that you can take these pieces and you can build your own social, like, your own posts. And it looks a lot more professional. Even in my hands, it looks more professional than if you don't give me these pieces. So I agree. I do
agree. I think it has leveled up your graphic game. I have still been making you graphics just because I'm a perfectionist and I keep being like, you're not allowed to center justified text.
I know.
Being like super anal and controlling about it, but like...
It's okay. It's okay. I appreciate you. It is so funny when I'm like doing stuff and I'm like, how would Kate feel about this? And then like I'll take a step back and try to see it as close to like from your eye as I can and then play around with things differently. I will even, because Jude has a better eye than I do too. So I have called her from her room and been like, hey Jude, can you come look at this and tell me if like some parts like seem more empty or need more like me moving around, and like she'll give me input and it's always right. Like it's always better than the way I started. So
my mom used to do that with me. She would be like,
that's so sweet,
we're going outside and I need a perfect circle of bricks for where I'm gonna do this garden wall. Can you make me a perfect circle of bricks?
That's amazing. I love that though. Like there's something really wonderful about like how your kids like how they have this skill that is ingrained in them, that is natural to them, that is superior than your own skill. Yeah. And also like how great is it to like be the professional with your parents?
Right. Especially no, it does give you like a lot of confidence that like I'm being trusted to make this decision. To do this because I'm considered the expert here. Like it is extremely gratifying, That's I think awesome. For children.
Yeah.
But like, so when you're making these like graphic, this is something that I think makes social media easier, having the different assets. And that's what you would say to your graphic designer is like, I need the individual assets of my cover, such as characters, the title, some of the background layers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like, for example, like your cover has like a little dog that's like wandering off the cover.
Yeah.
He gets his own little PNG.
And then, okay,
different. Oh, also, this should not really cost you much more. And when I
that was going to be my next question, is like, it would typically cost more.
This may be controversial. I don't think it should cost more as a graphic designer. It takes literally 30 seconds to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe like if your file already had a lot of condensed and not condensed and unorganized and unlabeled layers, it would be difficult to go and separate out the different layers and make the exports. It really, like, that's on the designer then, you know, not judging. Sometimes I do this with my own projects and it does take me fucking forever, but really it should not cost a lot extra.
I would say that it's acceptable for it to cost extra.
Yeah. Because it is extra work, but it's not, it's not hard work and it's not.
And then also they're kind of being put in the same position as you are with me, where now they have to trust you to take these elements and put them together in a way that looks good enough to have your name connected to it.
Well, so like,
and that might be a trust level that's challenging.
It is a little challenging, you know, depending on like, I think that is something that every graphic designer / illustrator really has to kind of make peace with and like let go of, is that whenever, you know, because we have this thing we say kind of in the industry, is that if you present your client with 3 choices, they're going to pick the worst one. You have to stand behind every choice you give them, because otherwise they're going to pick the worst one and you have to live with it.
That's such a good point.
You know, and you cannot your vision is not going to be, you know, just accessible to everyone. Like not even accessible. It's like just people can't read your mind. And you have to really take your ego out of it, you know? Like I want you to, God, I remember I got like a commission really early on and I drew the character wearing a skirt and then the person was like, oh, I don't want that skirt there. Give them shorts. And I was like, but the movement in the skirt, and I wanted to argue with them so bad because I was like, it's so much uglier with the shorts.
Yeah.
And, you know, it became, they are paying for this art. They get to decide what the final product is. It sucks, but you do have to take your ego out of it because it's not yours.
Well, but like, I think that should be relatable as an author as well, because even if the reader isn't changing our words and stuff, they are internalizing it all based on their own experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think that like as authors, we should have a lot of grace for other people feeling, you know, like our graphic designers feeling their feelings. And because it is like, it's our cover, but it is their artwork, right? And so it's a really unique, like, kind of relationship to strike.
There were a couple of things, like little tricks to make social media easier, because I know you struggle with it more than I do. I struggle to post when I feel like I have nothing to post about. I think that's something a lot of people, a lot of authors especially feel. It can be really hard to come up with, like, things to keep you in the social media cycle.
Because, like, something I'm looking at my like Instagram feed, and it all like I have these nice graphics and like stuff like that, and I'm like, you know, there really hasn't been much of an element of me in a while, so I probably should do something like a reel of me being goofy or something like that to give people a little peek back into like behind the curtain, right? And so like kind of like striking that balance, but like also like right now I'm very focused on this release and doing my promos. But there's the advice of like create a character that you're posting your social media for, right? Like create this person that, you know them in detail, right? Like this is your friend. Like if you were to see this like meme or this reel or TikTok, you'd be like, that's hilarious. I'm going to send it to them, right? Or they would find this interesting. Right? And I think that has really helped me feel less pressure about like what to post. Is this worth saying? Like stuff like that. And it's like, I mean, it's all just silly nonsense. But that's the person that I want to talk to who's like, yeah, I like that silly nonsense.
Right. And so like, I
think
thoughts.
You do this really well. Like in looking at you'll do like these cute like stories and stuff like that, where you'll take like a meme and that feels like very much connected to your brand.
Oh, because I post the stories. Right.
Yeah. But they're so freaking cute, right? And they're so funny. And I feel like you are really good at tailoring like this para communication.
Yeah.
But like actually taking the time to like, I have named my person I'm sending shit to, right? Like actually taking that time and building that character has really helped me feel a lot better about the choices I'm making.
Yeah.
And feel a lot more confident, right? Like, so if I'm like, would so-and-so think this is funny? And if I'm like, no, she wouldn't. She'd be like, why is she posting this? Then like, I don't post it. Right?
Okay.
But if she would be like, this isn't for everybody, but it's for me, like I post it. Right? Like, and that's been really helping me out. It's been giving me a lot more confidence.
I have thoughts on this. I don't know if they 100% line up with the way you're going about it.
Okay. I have 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Just a heads up.
Right. Okay. So like when I mentioned I had my other pen name and my big Tumblr blog, I did do, it was very much like a personality based, and it's a personality I don't really embody that much anymore. It was very feminine and pink and fluffy and girly and like all overboard about like makeup and fat positivity and like the very fluffy, sweet things, you know? And not to say that it wasn't genuine, it did feel like it was from a genuine place.
But like that was a while ago, and it's okay for you to have changed in like as a person and how you portray yourself.
Yeah, but
and
there
like,
was
even
also
your interests.
It become yes,
did it
like
kind of become like
is
a caricature of itself.
It did feel like a bit of a caricature, but it did not a disingenuous one. But it did feel like a little limiting, maybe. Like I don't want to talk bad about it. I think
no, I get that.
Personality-driven social media, you are selling the personality and the aesthetic and the image of that more than you are selling the books, you know? There is a difference there. Like because I think that is the kind of like the basis for what influencers are. What the approach I have taken now for my current, for this pen name, for this social media, is I'm not trying to like build up a specific image of who I am. I don't post myself very much on my social media, pretty much at all, if I can avoid it, honestly. But like, that's like, along with different things of like, I just don't take selfies anymore. I just don't, you know? Right now, I kind of let myself sit back when I don't have anything like a book to push out. But I'm kind of like focusing my social media as like, these are the news updates. This is where you can get your news about my books and my stuff that I'm putting out.
I don't dislike that at all.
I think like it feels much more manageable to me. I don't feel like I'm burning out on it because I plan all this social media ahead. I'm actually right now, for like the 100th time, I'm trying to connect a social media third-party planning calendar software.
Yeah.
Which I do love these things. I just don't love how Facebook will never let me connect my Instagram to these things because there's like a whole back and forth on like, is your Instagram connected to a business page? Is it a business account? Is it connected to like this other, like there's so many weird little requirements that stack on each other and it's driving me nuts. I'm going crazy. And that's kind of like the thing I wanted to talk about was social media planners and like the calendars and how useful they make things. Oh, okay. Absolutely. So
I've never used one.
I adore them. I think because you write a post out and then you have to post it like 5 times to different like social media. Like you have to rewrite the post or you have to copy and paste it off all these things. And you're, waiting for like the right hour because you can't save drafts or you can't schedule drafts on social media anymore. One of the things that really made Tumblr great, honestly.
Dude, that's so fair. Right. Yeah, because like if I could save drafts, like you can save reels on Instagram.
Right? Like Tumblr had this thing where you could queue posts. You could just add a bunch of different posts to your queue and it would just kind of like post one automatically however often you wanted. Like it would be like on a 5-hour interval or a 2-hour or 1 hour. Like it was, the idea was so you wouldn't bombard people with like 20 posts all at once.
Yeah.
But, people absolutely do that. I really think the calendars make it a lot easier. I have a little bit of experience with HubSpot and Hootsuite from like my various like internships and jobs, but I'm currently trying to use Post Planner if I can get this to work, just because it looked like it had enough things,
So like when I think about how I am willing to like show myself, I feel like I'm willing to show my pets. I feel like I'm willing to show like the books I'm reading or books that I have enjoyed. I am starting to move into like, I probably should ask Andrew if he's comfortable with this before I do it. Like move into like more of like a post of like this is why you never see pictures of my house, because they are not aesthetically pleasing, because that's not my concern right now. You know what I mean? Like kind of posting into like a bit more of that corner of my life. But mostly I think I'm willing to like show pets, show my outdoor like adventures, like pictures of nature and stuff like that, and the books I'm reading. And then everything else is like, if I got more in depth, you'd have to be on my newsletter, right? Like, if you want more access, go where I'm more comfortable talking.
For like the first like 2-3 months of the year, I was nailing the whole send one newsletter out a month. And I fell off the fucking wagon. I have not gotten back on.
You know what? That does remind me. Since this is like release month, I'm doing a newsletter every single week. And last week I forgot on Monday, and I did it on Tuesday. I think I even did it the week before where I forgot on Monday and I did it on Tuesday. This week I forgot on Monday and Tuesday, and so it will happen on Wednesday. And so like, you know, it's going to happen every week. It's going to be okay. And I'm trying to think of like a really fun thing to do for like that last week's push, right?
Yeah.
But like I would have to do it with a bit more planning, right? Because I was thinking like I could do like a Nora takes over, right? From like my character, and then have her just like spill the tea. Like how she actually feels about everybody's nonsense, right?
I dig it.
Yeah. And I think that'd be really cute and like fun and snarky.
So you do have like less, you have to run off now. Do you want to leave them with any like your quickest writing advice?
My quickest writing advice. I don't know. Right now, like I am very much focused on doing social media. And I would say like stop quantifying your social presence by what external forces say is worthy. Like don't quantify
don't give in to like the
social
vanity
presence
metrics.
Yeah, exactly, by whether or not it went viral, by whether or not, you know, all these things. And like just be like, people are interacting, people are sharing, people are like doing the stuff.
Exactly. Set your own goals and like make sure the goals are like things that are actually valuable.
Things that are actually within your control too, right? Like you might post something and it only gets like a couple likes, but that's okay. Like, do you value what you posted? Do you feel that it's appealing to the person you're trying to appeal to? And be cool with it. All right, Kate. Oh, hey, I'm Marty V.
You're Marty V.
At martyv.com.
Newsletters. Who knows what you're going to get in that newsletter.
Yeah, who knows?
25 extra 1,000 words.
Yeah, it's going to happen something.
It's
going to happen something.
All right.
And then I'm Marty V Author at TikTok and Instagram. And listener, I have to run away, but I love you. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay. All right. And listener, it is just me now. My quickest advice is something I heard from somebody else. I can't remember who right now. It was first thing in the morning when you pick up your phone and you start to go through all your social media notifications that have accumulated over the night. Instead of doing that, open your writing document, app or your Google Docs or something. Maybe you have the Scrivener app. And just, pick a paragraph and start working from there. It sounds so annoying and like one of those things where people say, oh, you should go to bed early. Kind of like, oh, it'll change your life. Actually, yeah, like life change. Not life-changing, but like it actually does do a good amount of productivity. And I think a lot of like your earliest, most energetic thought really does, it's good to capture that. Instead of kind of wasting it on what your notification. I have a hard time not going to them immediately. So hopefully you try that and see if it works for you. If it doesn't, ignore it. It's whatever. You can find me at kate-pryor.com. All right, love you much. Bye.